Hi, welcome to A Talk with Armani. I am your host, Armani Iman. Today I have a wonderful guest as we go behind the scenes of some of the most important and fascinating productions that you've seen. I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to A Talk with Armani. There's been so many different productions and movies and shows, and there's always the staff. We see the stars, but what about the stars behind the scenes? What about the people that actually put in so many long hours? As you can see, we're already here. We're still here tonight. We're taping, we're doing so much to bring you the finished product. It takes an army of people in order to make that happen. Sure, I come to you every week and I look well put together and say, oh, wow, that's flawless. But the team behind me, the team besides me, is what makes it so flawless. Today, I am joined with Mr. Lee Coleman, who is an assistant director. He's been on many productions. He's a sound guy, he's a videographer, a cinematographer, he's a magician, if you will, and he is one of the very important integral parts of A Talk with Armani as well as many other productions. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Lee Coleman.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for coming. So I want to get to it because there's so many different things that you do, and your work is so important. Not just because you work on my production, but because you work on many, many productions.
Yes.
And it's always so much that goes into it. As being a director myself, I know about all the different parts. So tell me, what got you to wanting to be behind the scenes?
Um, I actually started doing like theater when I was in high school.
Okay.
I did the Nutcracker,
Okay.
which is odd.
Mm-hmm.
For some people that know me, they know when I was a child wasn't that odd. But after that, I decided that I wanted to come to Atlanta
Okay.
and pursue acting. Then I realized that my face was not fit for the TV. So
Okay.
I decided to venture off and find out what's going on behind the scenes. So my first exposure, as far as in finding out what goes on behind the scenes, was a film festival.
Okay.
It was the Urban Media Maker Film Festival.
Okay.
I met a woman named Cheryl Reynolds that introduced me to, who is still my mentor today. Her name is Sylvia Jackson.
All right.
And by meeting Sylvia Jackson, that led to me meeting Tyler Perry, and I was able to work with those guys for a while. And after that, I decided, like, okay, I really want to take this seriously. So I decided to go to school for it. I went to our institute.
So you had learned and done all of that before you even went to school?
Yeah, I was doing production maybe for like four and a half years before I decided to go to school for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you did it for 4 years. It was a dating period. Like, I'm dating.
Yeah.
And now, you know what? I'm going to go in and marry you.
Very much so. Because when it comes down to the industry, it's really hard. I started off as a PA.
Okay.
I didn't know where I wanted to be at. I didn't know if I wanted to be sound, like you say, sound, camera, or directing. I didn't know which area I wanted to focus my attention on.
Okay.
So I did that for 4 years, and I was like, okay, I feel good about camera. So when I decided to do something about camera, someone was like, yeah, you need to go to Art Institute. So I said, I'll give it a shot. I went to Art Institute, and I went to Art Institute for like 3 semesters, and then I ended up being homeless for the last semester. I was homeless.
Oh, my goodness.
I was homeless for like a year, and then the person that was running the program, his name was Brian Bentley. Love this guy to the day. He caught me outside, and he was like, "Yo, dude, why are you sleeping in this car?" And he took me inside and he talked to me for a second. He said to me, "If this is really crippling you this way, you maybe need to consider leaving school." Because you're already working in the industry. We're teaching you guys how to go out there, and you're TAing for half of the students.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. He was like, but I want you to do it for yourself and not just do it just because I'm telling you to do it, but you really have to make a really responsible decision for your life.
Right.
I made
So,
responsible decisions.
okay, I think we kind of skipped over
Yeah.
some stuff. So, you were in school, and
Mhm.
what the financial burden of the
Yes.
school had caused you to be homeless? You couldn't afford a place to live?
Yes, Art Institute took a lot of money.
Okay.
They still take a lot of money. But ultimately, it was because of the job that I had prior before going to Art Institute. I worked at Geek Squad.
Okay.
I made way too much money. And then they saw that as a problem. But then by that time I decided to go to school, I no longer had that job. So they was looking at my last year's financial.
Okay.
And they decided like, okay, he can pay for this. So I was paying out of pocket. So every gig that I got on, I was using that money to keep myself in school.
Wow.
So I was paying for my school through all my PA jobs.
So you just basically made the decision, education over everything.
Yeah, I wanted to really further the career, trying to help. And this was when Atlanta did not know where it wanted to go when it came down to films.
Right.
And it was just, I just wanted to go ahead and just get the experience, and get the exposure, and get the education that I need, because I felt like that can take me a lot further. BSMA, not telling people not to go to school, because definitely education is very necessary. But ultimately, in some cases, for me, for myself, I'm still educating myself to this day, because the education never stops when it comes down to films.
Right.
So I will still continue to educate myself. But when it comes down to this area, in most cases, people will say you don't need the education. If I was going more corporate, which I have done before, then I see the education being a very necessary part that you need in order for you to be able to get more